There, everybody, how's it going? It's a Payroll 2021 update. I want to send this video to everybody who asked me the question about where's my payroll file for 2021? Ken, do you have it yet? Well, all right. I'm going to actually call out the IRS for I believe making an error already in next year. And let's see if I'm right and let's discuss what we're talking about. So the reason why I tell everybody, hey, I can't give you your payroll file yet is because I'm like, well, the rates aren't in yet. Like if you filled out all the information and filled out everything, you would find out as you look at the way to calculate the federal tax withheld, there was an issuance of what's called the Publication 15T for 2021. This is the one that has guidance about, well, what should you withhold? How do you do the withholding? I've done a video on this in the past in 2020. Notice this does not say the word draft on it. This looks like it is the final version. It says for use in 2021. Well, okay. I understand that you think you've issued the 2021, but here's what I've noticed. First of all, there's another publication called just the Publication 15. That's the one that has more extensive guidance to payroll providers about what to do. This is just one for rates. Well, I noticed that the Publication 15 itself is still in draft status. So this one isn't in draft status and supposed to be used, but the 15 is in draft status, which I'm not showing you right now. That one hasn't been released. The reason why is they're finishing it up. They got a lot to go over. They're making it compliant with the New Year's tax codes. Well, when you look at this 15T, which is supposedly done, here's what I noticed. This is the complicated way that you figure out whether or not, how to do the federal withholding for your employee and whether or not they filled out an old W-4 or a 2020 W-4 or later. Here are the percentage tables. I noticed they updated the percentage tables. That was good. These are different. In the new year, these are updated. I'll show you how to do that. They're all in all of these different cells is where you can type in those formulas and make all this work. But here's why I'm calling out the IRS, and I think they're wrong. The rates did adjust up slightly. Okay? They adjusted up a little bit for cost of living adjustments. That's normal, where the rates slightly change a little bit and the thresholds go up just slightly. That I noticed was right. Here's what I noticed didn't change. First of all, this is the number of the standard deduction from the old W-4. It's still at 4,300, which is the same place it was at in 2020. I think that's wrong. I think it went up and they didn't update the form. It was $4,300 last year. Is it still $4,300? Usually this goes up to like $4,350 or $4,400 or something. So I think this is wrong. I also think this is wrong. These are the deductions from last year for married and had a household amount. These amounts didn't change because my formula didn't change. So I don't think that's right. I think it's supposed to change. And I think that when they issue the Publication 15, I think this will change, which means the instructions are going to change, which means if I send you out the payroll file right now, I'm going to have to change it next week when they fix this. So I'm not sending anything out yet until I get an answer about why this didn't change. And I bet you, not real money, but I'm going to bet you here on YouTube that this here is going to get updated. And this, which was for use in 2021, as of December 8th, when this is issued, you're going to see a January issuance date or a late December issuance date, probably a January issuance date, where this is corrected. That's what I think is going to happen. And it'll happen when they issue the Publication 15. This is all probably going to happen like next week. So for those wondering why I haven't sent the file, it's because I don't think you can send the file yet. I think you're just going to be withholding at last year's rates if they don't issue something by January, and that's what they're going to do. And then you're going to end up updating this in January, which creates twice as much work for me to do for everybody. And instead, I don't have time to do that. I only have time to do it once. So I'm finishing up all the states over the next couple days here, and we will wait for the Department of the Treasury, Steve Mnuchin. We will wait for him to figure out what's going on. I know that we're all waiting for Trump to go away, but we have to get work done in the meantime. So that's what's going on. That's why I haven't sent the file yet. watch me predict that this thing gets reissued and fixed because these numbers didn't change. And I understand how they didn't change. You know why? When they were like, hey, when they're talking to people at the IRS, I used to work at the IRS. I was an intern at the IRS in the late 90s, in like 1998. I was there. Nice people. Everybody just, wants to work. When you're there, they're like, hey, you know what? You need to update the 15T and send this out so the payroll providers can do their rates. And they're like, okay, I'm going to update my rates here. I'm going to update my rates here. Oh, I got all these done. And they never looked at the sheet. They never looked at this. They're like, oh, yeah, they don't realize that there are numbers here that are supposed to change. So I don't mean to bash the good people at the IRS, but this is not right. And everybody is going to realize that this is going to have to get changed. That's my guess. We'll see. Or maybe I'll have to pull this video down because I'm accusing the IRS of issuing a form that's not correct. But whatever. We'll find out. All right, guys. Good luck, everybody. I will be updating probably, I don't think it's going to be till the very first week of January, and I'll get these out. But in the meantime, you can see why there's a holdup.